Due to the drop in birth rates during the 2008 Great Recession, which resulted in a 15% decline in 18-year-olds beginning in 2025, the migration of the population away from the Northeast and Midwest, the current rapid rise in inflation, the declines in the investment returns that are experienced right now, and the competing labor market, which is competing for the same students that would traditionally go to college now with attractive offers to join the workforce without a degree, higher ed is experiencing a potential financial crisis, the likes of which it's never had before. Institutions are still generally a few years away from facing this reality, but it behooves them very strongly to take a close look at their projections on where they will be when this crisis ultimately and inevitably hits. And based upon the results of that analysis, start making plans now in terms of how they will address those concerns. It's very important in this context to get a major head start. Solutions sometimes may be easily achieved, for example, with respect to certain cost-cutting mechanisms, but in other instances, they may be very difficult. For example, one area that has been identified by many institutions going through this analysis is the desire to enter into strategic partnerships. These can be in the form, for example, of affiliations, such as through a shared service organization. This type of relationship is very difficult at times to actually manifest. Conceptually, it may seem that it could be very quickly and readily achieved, but the institutions need to quickly realize that proceeding in this manner results in giving up certain levels of autonomy, control, identity, so forth. These are things that they might not be willing to quickly accept. Along these lines, institutions should also be considering if the financial situation merits it, other types of relationships, such as mergers and even acquisitions. Recently, I've been involved in developing an acquisition situation for an institution. In that case, it was a relatively small private not-for-profit institution that, coming to the realization that it was going to be confronting issues in the future and that those issues could be existential, decided that they were going to embark on affiliation, but that these affiliations could take a long time again to do. But an acquisition could be effectuated more quickly and maybe even much more satisfactorily because it does not implicate giving up autonomy, control, identity, so forth. In this situation that I'm describing, it was the institution that was targeted was a proprietary for-profit college, albeit outside the geographic region of the acquirer. It had a lot of synergistic, symbiotic opportunities presented to it, and we are now in the process of consummating that transaction. Institutions, again, I cannot urge strongly enough, should be ahead of this in terms of their functioning, in terms of their thought process. And I believe going forward, the ones that stand the greatest chance of success are the ones that are permitting themselves enough time to be proactive and properly implement the changes without too much of a rush.